Welcome to lesson number 3. In the last lesson, we found out how to figure out where the C note is and find the other notes in reference to that as the anchor note. We also gave numbers to the fingers on our hand, starting with thumb being number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in both hands, the thumb is finger number 1 and the pinky finger is finger number 5. So once again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this lesson, we're going to go through the C major scale. A scale, for the purposes of our learning, we're going to define it as a set of notes that make the rule of the playing in that session or that song. In different texts, you might find more technical definitions of what a scale is, but for this tutorial series, we're just going to call it a set of notes. The C major scale is the set of white notes starting from C and ending at B. For musical purposes, I will be playing the C note after that also, but keep in mind it's the same note that you start with, so there's not two C notes in the scale, it's still just one. We just play it again to resolve it properly. So this is what C major scale notes sound like. To play this in a more fitting manner, we're going to use all 5 fingers of our hand, and we're going to find a way to switch fingers over in order to play all 8 notes and then come back to the note we start from. If you play with your right hand, if you start with the right hand first, your thumb is going to be on the C note, and then you're going to have all the other fingers land subsequently. That is 2 on D, 3 on E, 4 on F, and 5 on G. Notice that there's 8 notes to play, these 3 more, but you only have 5 fingers. Obviously, we will be switching some of these fingers in the middle of playing to get more fingers to play the 3 notes and then come back and then switch again to play the first 3 notes. So here's how it will go. If you notice, I took my thumb, finger number 1, and switched it from under finger number 3 to reach the F note, where finger number 4 was already lying. One more time. Switch. I decided to switch on number 3 so that I have enough fingers to play all the way to C and then come back. Switch. Come back. I will switch here. And as you can see, we came back to the original setting. When I was switching back from the thumb on F, I only needed 3 more fingers, so I switched the finger number 3 on E and back to what it had to be. If you do this with your left hand, it's going to be the other way around, where you start the C major scale with the pinky finger, finger number 5 first. Notice that the switching over here is different from the right hand. If you see, the switching is different, but it's kind of the opposite of what's happening on the right hand. You start all the way from C and play through G. I only need 3 more fingers to play the C note that's next, so I'm gonna switch finger number 3 over. And now I don't have to go any further, so in order to play back, I'm gonna start playing it back. And now that I need 5 fingers to play rest of the notes in the scale, I'm gonna move the thumb, finger 1, over 3 to G. So it was different. The switching happened mostly on G and A, and you switch the 3 fingers first and then the 5 fingers while coming back. That's the C major scale and how to play it with both hands. Key takeaway from this lesson is that you have to switch when you have to play more notes on the piano, but the switching is not a rule of thumb to be done only with fingers 1 and 3. They could be done with any other finger when the situation calls for it. For example, if I was playing the C major scale on my right hand for 2 consecutive octaves, then it would be switching on 3 first and then switching on 4 first. Here's what it would look like. We come back to the original C note, the first C note with the thumb finger, but if you noticed, I switched with thumb on the third note first. Then when I came to B, I switched with the thumb again to play the whole scale all over again on the next octave. Messed up a little bit over there. But yeah, you have to switch on number 3 on the E note to play all the way to the end of that scale. Switch again on C. That's how you would switch based on what the situation called for. In this case, the situation being playing the C major scale over 2 octaves. So that's the C major scale. For the next few lessons, we will be focusing more on patterns and songs that fall in the C major scale to get better acquainted with playing with both hands, playing with one hand each, and building up dexterity in the fingers. And then we'll go to the other scales. The other scales will have a different set of notes altogether. C major scale has all white notes, but another scale, for example the G major scale, will have one black note in there. You will have... So there we played the F sharp and not the F. So musically, it goes as a function of whole and half steps. Every scale can be defined as a combination of whole and half steps, and they may not always align on just white notes. But for the purposes of the next few lessons and learning how scales work, we are only going to refer to the C major scale. See you in the next lesson.